Guys, here, another comedy video. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. I'm still working on the voices, and since I do this for fun, my voice selection is limited. Please help us reach 1,000 subscribers by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Dying from overwork was embarrassing. Waking up in a cold CEO's bathtub, with thief written across my forehead was worse. Then a talking dog in a bow tie appeared and said, "Congratulations. Make that woman fall in love with you and you can return home." There was only one problem. She hated me. She could see the supposedly invisible dog, and 10 minutes later, the system ordered me to eliminate her. Main story. Chapter 1. When I opened my eyes, I was lying face down in a bathtub full of rose petals. The water was freezing. One of my shoes was missing. A diamond necklace hung around my neck, and someone had written thief across my forehead in bright red lipstick. For several seconds, I remained completely still. Then I raised my head and looked around the enormous marble bathroom. Golden faucets, crystal lights, towels softer than my former boss's conscience. A wall-sized mirror showed me exactly how miserable I looked. My hair was stuck to my face. My suit was soaked. The diamond necklace glittered against my chest like evidence at a crime scene. I took a deep breath. Where am I? A tired voice answered from beside the bathtub. You are in the presidential suite of the Imperial Crown Hotel. I turned my head. A small white dog sat on the closed toilet lid. It wore a black bow tie and held a tablet between its front paws. The dog looked at me. I looked at the dog. The dog sighed. Please don't scream. Every host screams. I screamed. The bathroom door flew open. 4 hotel security guards rushed inside. Behind them stood a tall woman wearing a black evening dress. She was beautiful in the dangerous way that made a man want to apologize before he had even done anything wrong. Her dark hair rested over one shoulder. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were sharp enough to cut glass. She looked at the necklace around my neck. Then she looked at the red word on my forehead. Finally, she looked at me. Explain. I climbed out of the bathtub so quickly that I slipped, caught the edge of the sink, spun around, and fell back into the water. The white dog covered its eyes with one paw. I surfaced with a rose petal stuck to my nose. Good evening, I said. The woman did not answer. I can explain. You just said that. I know. I was giving myself time to think of the explanation. 2 guards stepped forward. I immediately pointed at the dog. It did it. The woman glanced toward the toilet. The dog sat there innocently, wagging its tail. She looked back at me. What dog? My heart stopped. I slowly turned toward the bow-tied animal. The dog gave me an encouraging smile. Only you can see me, it whispered. I wanted to grab it by the bow tie and flush it down the toilet. Unfortunately, in the eyes of everyone else, I was pointing at empty air. The woman folded her arms. You broke into my suite, stole my necklace, climbed into my bathtub, and now you are blaming an invisible dog. When you say it like that, it sounds unreasonable. It is unreasonable. Then please don't say it like that. A guard seized my arm. The instant he touched me, a burst of blue light appeared in front of my eyes. Words formed in the air. Mission system activated. Host identified, George Hale. Status deceased. Temporary body stability, 30 days. Primary target, Willow Liu. Objective, make Willow Liu fall in love with you. Failure penalty, permanent erasure from both worlds. I stared at the floating message. Then I stared at the freezing woman in front of me. Excuse me, I said cautiously, are you Willow? Her eyes narrowed. Take him downstairs. The guards dragged me out of the bathroom. The dog jumped down and followed us. Good news, it said. What possible good news could exist right now? You found the target. I looked at the guards, the stolen necklace, and the furious CEO walking behind me. Wonderful. At this rate, she'll fall in love with me immediately. That's the spirit. I was being sarcastic. I know I was ignoring it. That was the moment I realized death had not been the worst thing that happened to me that day. The worst thing was being assigned a motivational dog. Chapter 2, I had died at my desk. There was no dramatic car accident, no heroic sacrifice, no mysterious illness that inspired everyone around me to appreciate life. I died while correcting a spreadsheet. My final memory was of my manager leaning over my cubicle and saying, "Before you go home, could you make one small adjustment?" The adjustment had 14 sections. At 2 in the morning, my chest began to hurt. At 2:15, I wondered if I should call someone. At 2:20, I decided to finish the spreadsheet first. That decision perfectly summarized my first life. Now, apparently, I had been given another chance. It was not a particularly good chance. I sat in the hotel's security office with my hands cuffed to a metal table. Willow stood on the opposite side, speaking quietly with the hotel manager. The white dog sat under my chair. Its name, according to the words hovering above its head, was System 439. I called it Furball. It hated that. "You need to calm down," Furball whispered. "This is a standard introductory obstacle." Standard? Yes. Do all your hosts wake up accused of stealing jewelry? Not all of them. How many? Enough that we created a category. I lowered my voice. Why am I here? You died before fulfilling your potential. My potential was answering emails. You were selected for a second life opportunity. By whom? The Central Reincarnation Authority. What is that? A central authority responsible for reincarnation. You explained nothing. I answered accurately. I looked at Willow. She had retrieved the diamond necklace and placed it inside a velvet box. Up close, she looked even more intimidating. Her face was composed, but every person in the room seemed to move more carefully when she was nearby. So I have to make her love me. Correct. And if I fail, I disappear. Correct. And this body lasts 30 days. Unless the target reaches the required emotional threshold. What threshold? Romantic attachment above 90%. I stared at him. How do I measure that? I measure it for you. A glowing meter appeared above Willow's head. Willow Liu. Affection. I blinked. -12. Furball winced. She strongly dislikes you. We met 11 minutes ago. You have made a memorable impression. Willow finished speaking with the manager and came toward me. The affection meter dropped to -14. She dislikes me more whenever she looks at me. That is not ideal. Brilliant observation. Willow placed both hands on the table. George Hale. I froze. I had not told her my name. How do you know that? You had identification in your pocket. Oh. She placed my wallet on the table. It was not my wallet. The identification card showed my face, but everything else was unfamiliar. According to the card, I was 27, lived in East Bell City, and worked as an independent event planner. In my original world, I had been 32 and worked in corporate accounting. I picked up the card. I've lost 5 years. Willow studied me. You also appear to have lost your memory. I can explain that. Her expression suggested that she had already suffered through enough of my explanations. I continued anyway. I woke up in your bathtub with no idea how I got there. And the necklace? No idea. The hotel cameras show you entering my suite with a staff access card. I don't have a staff access card. They found it in your remaining shoe. I slowly looked down. My left shoe squished when I moved my foot. My right foot was covered by a wet sock. That explains why one shoe was missing, I murmured. No, it creates another question. That too. The police are on their way. Furball jumped onto the table. Host, begin the seduction. I almost choked. Now, this is an excellent opportunity. What part of being arrested is excellent? Emotional vulnerability can create intimacy. I'm emotionally vulnerable. She's emotionally prepared to send me to prison. Furball tapped its tablet. A new mission appeared. Beginner task. Hold Willow Liu's hand for 10 seconds. Reward, evidence assistance package. I stared at it. You have to be joking. Complete the task, and I can help prove your innocence. Willow glanced at the empty spot where Furball stood. Who are you talking to? My conscience. Your conscience tells you to argue aloud. It's very opinionated. Furball pointed to the mission timer. Time remaining, 60 seconds. I looked at Willow's hand. Then I looked at the 2 security guards behind her. I considered my options. Option 1 was prison. Option 2 was grabbing the hand of an angry stranger who believed I had robbed her. There should have been a third option. Perhaps death. Unfortunately, I had already tried that. I stood abruptly. Willow stepped back. The security guards moved forward. I apologize in advance, I said. For what? I reached across the table and grabbed her hand. The room fell silent. Willow looked at our joined hands. Then she looked at me. The affection meter dropped to -25. 10 seconds, Furball whispered. Willow's voice became dangerously soft. Let go. 9 seconds. I would love to. 8. Then do it. 7. One of the guards grabbed my shoulder. I held on with the determination of a man clinging to the last helicopter leaving a disaster zone. 6. Willow twisted my wrist. Pain shot up my arm. 5. I cried out. 4. She forced me face down against the table. 3. My cheek flattened against the cold metal. 2. I began to reconsider whether disappearing was truly a punishment. 1. A cheerful bell rang inside my head. Task completed. Reward activated. The security office monitor flickered. Everyone turned. The footage began playing backward. We watched the hotel corridor outside Willow's suite. A man wearing my face walked toward the door. Then the image briefly distorted. For one frame, the man's appearance changed. He was taller than me, with a scar across his chin. The room became quiet. The hotel manager replayed the footage. The scarred face appeared again. Willow slowly released my wrist. That isn't you. I've been trying to tell you that. You blamed a dog. That was a separate issue. She looked at the guards. Uncuff him. The affection meter rose from -25 to -19. Furball wagged its tail. Excellent progress. I rubbed my aching wrist. If this is progress, I don't want to experience failure. Chapter 3, Willow did not apologize. People with more money than small countries, apparently, did not need that word. Instead, she brought me to the top floor lounge, gave me a dry jacket, and told me to sit. The lounge overlooked the entire city. Lights stretched toward the horizon like scattered gold beneath the night sky. Willow sat across from me. A cup of tea rested untouched in front of her. My necklace disappeared from a private auction 3 days ago, she said. Tonight, someone contacted me and offered to return it in exchange for $5 million. And you agreed to meet at the hotel. Yes. Then I appeared in your bathtub wearing it. Yes. That sounds bad. It looked worse. Furball sat beside her chair and pretended to drink from her cup. I kicked at it under the table. My foot passed through its body. It looked offended anyway. Willow continued. The man on the recording used your face. Your identification gave us your address, but that address does not exist. I examined the card again. Maybe the building was demolished. The street does not exist. Perhaps it was also demolished. The entire district does not exist. That seems excessive. She leaned back. I had my people search your name. There is no George Hale in East Bell City matching your description. There are no school records, tax records, employment records, or medical records. That's worrying. You don't seem worried. I'm trying to appear calm. You're holding the card upside down. I turned it around. Now I'm calmer. Her affection remained at -19. Not ideal, but at least we had stopped falling toward negative infinity. I want you to work for me, she said. I nearly dropped the identification card. Are you serious? The thief may contact you. He deliberately used your appearance and placed you in my suite. That means you are connected to him somehow. I've never seen him. That doesn't mean he hasn't seen you. What exactly would I be doing? Remaining where I can observe you. That sounds less like employment and more like imprisonment with a salary. You'll receive an apartment, expenses, and $50,000 for 1 month. I sat straighter. Would you like me to begin observing myself immediately? Her eyes narrowed slightly. Furball appeared on the table. Accept the offer. Proximity to the target will make the mission easier. I ignored him. Why trust me? I asked. I don't. That answer was very fast. Trust would be inefficient. I'll have you monitored. That should make me feel much better. It wasn't intended to. She slid a contract across the table. Furball's tablet flashed. Main mission updated. Remain within Willow Liu's proximity for 30 days. Develop romantic attachment. Do not reveal the existence of the system. Warning, disclosure will result in immediate punishment. I stared at the final line. That had not appeared before. What kind of punishment? I whispered. Furball's ears lowered. Please don't test it. For the first time, it did not sound smug or cheerful. It sounded frightened. I studied the little dog. Until then, I had assumed it was an annoying supernatural customer service agent. Now I wondered if it was trapped too. Willow tapped the contract. Is there a problem? No. Then sign. I picked up the pen. Before I do, I have one question. What? What happens if the thief tries to kill me? My employees will protect you. And if they fail, then the contract terminates automatically. I looked at her. That is the coldest reassurance I've ever received. She raised an eyebrow. Would you prefer a comforting lie? For some reason, that question caught me off guard. In my old life, people had lied gently all the time. The company valued my dedication. The extra hours were temporary. My health mattered. The next project would be easier. Each lie had sounded kind. Each one had taken something from me. Willow's honesty was brutal, but at least it left no hidden blade. I signed the contract. The instant the pen left the paper, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the lounge. A second later, glass shattered behind me. Someone grabbed my collar. I was dragged backward. Willow shouted my name. I hit the floor, rolled beneath a table, and felt something sharp slice through the air where my head had been. Emergency lights blinked red. A masked man stood over me with a knife. I lifted the nearest object and blocked his next strike. It was Willow's teapot. Hot tea splashed across his face. He staggered back with a scream. This is why you should let tea cool before serving it, I shouted. He swung again. I ducked. The blade sliced through my borrowed jacket. I grabbed a chair and held it between us. The attacker slashed at it. Wood chips flew everywhere. Furball, I yelled, a little assistance. The system sat beneath the sofa with its paws over its head. I am not a combat system. You could have mentioned that before. I thought the bow tie made it obvious. Willow came up behind the attacker and struck his wrist with a metal serving tray. The knife fell. I charged forward, hit him with the chair, and immediately tripped over the broken teapot. The masked man crashed into me. We rolled across the carpet until we hit the windows. He tried to stand. Willow pressed the heel of her shoe against his shoulder and forced him back down. Security guards burst through the doors. They surrounded the man and pulled off his mask. It was the scarred man from the footage. He laughed. Not a normal laugh. A thin blue light flashed behind his eyes. Then he looked directly at Furball. "You found another one," he said. The blood drained from Furball's face. Willow followed the man's gaze. For one impossible second, her eyes settled on the dog. Not near the dog. Not past the dog. On it. Furball stopped moving. Willow's expression changed only slightly, but I saw it. Recognition. Fear. The scarred man began convulsing. Blue cracks spread across his face like lightning beneath glass. Furball leaped onto the table. "We need to leave." The attacker screamed. A blast of blue energy threw everyone backward. The windows shattered. Wind howled through the lounge. When I opened my eyes again, the attacker was gone. All that remained was a black mark burned into the carpet. The security guards stared at the empty space. Willow stared at Furball. Then she looked at me. Her affection meter had risen to -11. Unfortunately, another line had appeared beneath it. Suspicion, 67%. "George," she said quietly, "what exactly followed you into my hotel?" I swallowed. The system warning flashed in front of me. "Do not reveal the system." "I have no idea." Willow's eyes hardened. Her suspicion rose to 72%. Furball lowered its head. I had been alive in this world for less than 2 hours. I had been accused of theft, thrown into a bathtub, attacked with a knife, and hired by a woman who might be able to see the invisible creature controlling my life. Honestly, it was still better than working overtime. Chapter Willow's people moved me to one of her private residences before sunrise. Calling it a residence was misleading. It was a fortress disguised as a luxury villa. Cameras watched every entrance. Guards patrolled the gardens. The windows were reinforced. The gates required 3 kinds of identification, and the refrigerator had more security than my old company's payroll system. A housekeeper showed me to a guest room on the 2nd floor. Furball followed silently. The instant the door closed, I turned on it. "You knew that man?" "No." "You reacted when he looked at you." "I reacted because he exploded." "He didn't explode, he disappeared." "That is not better." I crouched in front of it. "Who was he?" Furball looked toward the door. Then it tapped its tablet. Words appeared on the screen. "System communication may be monitored." My anger cooled. "By whom?" It erased the message. "I don't know what you mean." "You just showed me." "I showed you nothing." "Are you in danger?" Furball's cheerful expression returned so quickly that it looked fake. "I am System 439, your loyal romantic assistant's companion. My purpose is to guide you towards successful mission completion." It said the words like it had memorized them. Before I could ask anything else, the bedroom door opened. Willow walked in without knocking. She had changed into a white shirt and dark trousers. Her hair was tied back, and she carried a slim folder beneath one arm. Furball immediately jumped behind the curtains. Willow's gaze followed it. There was no longer any doubt. She could see him. Yet she looked at me and said, "Who are you talking to?" "Myself." "You argue with yourself often." "I'm under a lot of stress." She set the folder on the desk. "We identified the attacker as Adrian Cole. He disappeared 8 years ago." "Disappeared how?" "He walked into a train station and never walked out. His family believed he was dead." "That sounds familiar." "Does it?" I caught the trap a second before stepping into it. "No, I meant familiar in a general, mysterious disappearance kind of way." "Of course." Her suspicion meter reached 75%. Willow opened the folder. Inside were photographs of Adrian at different ages. In one picture, he stood beside a smiling young woman. In another, he was alone. In the final image, he sat in a hospital room staring at empty air. He told his family that something had chosen him, Willow said. He claimed he had been given a mission involving that woman. A cold sensation moved down my back. What happened to her? She died. Furball made a small sound behind the curtain. Willow heard it. I heard it. Neither of us acknowledged it. How? I asked. Her car drove off a mountain road. Adrian disappeared 3 days later. Why did he steal your necklace? That is what I hoped you could tell me. I can't. Can't or whoa. Both answers will make you angry. I'm already angry. Then I'm saving us time. Her eyes became colder, but the corner of her mouth moved slightly. The affection meter rose from -11 to -9. Apparently, irritating her was more effective than being polite. That explained a lot about wealthy people. Willow closed the folder. You protected me tonight. I protected myself. You happened to be nearby. You could have run. The door was behind the man with the knife. There were other exits. I didn't see them. You noticed them when you entered. I stared at her. She had been watching me closely. Too closely. Fine, I said. Maybe I didn't want you to get hurt. Why? Basic human decency. You had known me for less than 2 hours. I've known people for years and liked them less. Her expression softened for the briefest moment. The affection meter reached -6. This was going surprisingly well. Then Furball's tablet chimed. A message appeared. Romantic opportunity detected. Tell Willow Liu that you protected her because you fell in love at first sight. Reward affection multiplier. I nearly laughed. Willow noticed. What? Nothing. Furball gestured frantically. I ignored it. The message flashed red. Comply. A sharp pain pierced my chest. I grabbed the desk. Willow stepped closer. What's wrong? The pain intensified. Furball stared at me helplessly. Say it, it whispered. My vision blurred. The system was not merely advising me. It could hurt me. Willow placed a hand on my shoulder. The pain suddenly stopped. Not weakened. Stopped. Furball's eyes widened. Willow looked from me to the invisible space beside the curtain. Her voice was very soft. What did it tell you to say? Every warning in front of me flashed at once. Do not disclose system information. Punishment pending. I forced myself to smile. That I should get some sleep. Willow held my gaze. She knew I was lying. Instead of exposing me, she stepped away. Then sleep. At the door, she paused. George. Yes. If something is threatening you, don't assume obeying it will keep you safe. The door closed behind her. For several seconds, I stood in silence. Furball crawled out from behind the curtain. Its ears hung low. I'm sorry. You knew it could punish me. Yes. You didn't warn me. I'm not allowed. Not allowed by whom? Its tablet flickered. For a fraction of a second, a message appeared. It is listening. Then the screen returned to normal. Furball forced a smile. You should rest. Tomorrow is your first official day with the target. I looked at the closed door. Willow could see the system. Her touch had interrupted its punishment. She had investigated another man who once carried a similar mission. That meant she knew more than she admitted. I did not trust Willow Liu. She did not trust me. The system clearly did not trust either of us. At least we finally had something in common. Chapter 5. At 7 the next morning, a guard knocked on my door and informed me that Willow wanted me downstairs. I had slept for 23 minutes. Furball had spent the rest of the night pacing in circles. When I entered the dining room, Willow was already working. 3 tablets, 2 phones, and a stack of documents covered the table. She read a report while drinking black coffee. Breakfast waited at the opposite end. Eggs, toast, fruit, pastries, soup, and several dishes I could not identify. I sat down. Does your kitchen expect an army? The staff didn't know what you eat. I'm not difficult. Willow looked toward a plate of green vegetables. I picked one up, bit into it, and immediately regretted speaking. It tasted like disappointment wrapped in a leaf. I swallowed with great effort. Delicious. It's decoration. I put it down. Your decorations are very fresh. The affection meter rose to -4. I was beginning to fear what would happen when she actually liked me. Willow slid a phone across the table. This is yours. A single application had been installed. It displayed my location. You gave me a tracking device. I gave you a phone. A phone with one function. It can also make emergency calls. To whom? Me. That's still one function. She ignored the complaint. Today, you're coming to the company. In what role? My assistant. Do I receive training? No. Responsibilities. Stay close and avoid touching anything. That sounds more like being a decorative plant. The plants require less supervision. I opened my mouth to respond, but Furball's tablet chimed. Daily mission. Enter Willow Liu's office. Photograph the contents of her locked red cabinet. Upload images to the system. I read the message twice. That isn't romantic, I whispered. Furball avoided my eyes. Willow looked up. What did you say? I said I'm ready to contribute to the company. You looked horrified. That's how I look when I'm enthusiastic. The mission timer appeared. Time limit 8 hours. Failure penalty. Body stability reduced by 48 hours. A cold anger settled in my chest. The system wanted something from Willow's office. Something hidden inside a locked cabinet. Perhaps the romance mission was only an excuse to place me near her. Willow watched my expression. What happened? I picked up the tracking phone. Nothing. Her suspicion meter climbed to 78%. We left for the company 20 minutes later. Liu Global occupied an enormous glass tower in the center of East Bell City. Employees straightened the moment Willow entered. Conversations stopped. Elevators were held. One man nearly walked into a wall while trying to bow and move backward at the same time. I followed behind her. Furball trotted at my side. This is your chance, it whispered. Complete the mission while she attends a meeting. I'm not spying on her. You will lose 2 days. I have 30. You may need every hour. Its voice carried genuine concern. That made refusing more difficult. We entered Willow's office on the top floor. The room was large but surprisingly plain. A black desk stood near the windows. Bookshelves covered one wall. A red cabinet rested near a private conference table. There it was. Willow noticed me looking at it. Interested in office furniture. You stared at it. Red is a bold choice. It belonged to my father. Then I respectfully admire it. Her eyes remained on me. A secretary entered and informed Willow that the board was waiting. Willow gathered her documents. You'll remain here. Alone. There are cameras. Of course there are. She walked to the door, then stopped. George. Yes. Some doors are locked because what is behind them is dangerous, not valuable. She left. Furball and I stared after her. She knows, I said. She suspects. She practically gave me a warning. Furball approached the cabinet. You must complete the mission. No. Its tablet flashed. Host noncompliance detected. Pain struck my chest again. I fell against the desk. This time it was worse. My heartbeat became uneven. My fingers went numb. Furball barked at the ceiling. Stop, he understands. The pain continued. The cabinet's lock released with a quiet click. I managed to look up. The door had opened by itself. Inside were dozens of folders. Each one carried a photograph. Men and women of different ages, different nationalities, different lives. Every photograph had a number written beneath it. Host 112. Host 207. Host 318. Host 401. I reached for the nearest folder. Adrian Cole's face stared back at me. Host 401. Status corrupted. Target Elena Vale. Target status deceased. Underneath, Willow had written a sentence by hand. The system did not save him, it used him. Furball stared at the folder. Its body began trembling. Close the cabinet. The pain vanished. I crouched on the floor, struggling to breathe. Furball backed away. Close it now. Why? Because if it sees what she knows, it will kill her. The office doors opened. Willow entered with 2 security guards. She saw the open cabinet. She saw the folder in my hand. Her face became completely still. The affection meter disappeared. So did her suspicion meter. In their place, a new message appeared. Target compromised. Emergency mission issued. Eliminate Willow Liu. Time limit 24 hours. The system had finally stopped pretending. This had never been a romance. It was an execution. And somehow, I had been selected to perform it. Chapter 6. The system gave me 24 hours to eliminate Willow Liu. Willow gave me 12 seconds to explain myself. She stood in the doorway of her office with 2 security guards behind her. Her eyes moved from the open red cabinet to Adrian Cole's folder in my hand. Then she looked at me. Start talking. I opened my mouth. A warning filled my vision. Disclosure prohibited. Attempts to reveal system information will result in punishment. My chest tightened. Willow noticed immediately. Her expression remained calm, but one hand lifted slightly. The guard stepped away from the door and closed it behind them. Now it was just Willow, Furball, and me. And whichever invisible monster was listening through the system. I opened the cabinet, I said carefully. I can see that. I found these files. I can also see that. This conversation would move faster if you stopped seeing things. Her gaze sharpened. Furball groaned softly. I placed Adrian's folder on the desk. Willow, you already know I'm connected to what happened to Adrian. Connected does not mean innocent. I didn't know Adrian existed until last night. You also claimed you didn't know how you entered my hotel suite. I didn't. You blamed an invisible dog. Furball looked offended. I was under pressure. I believe you. I stared at her. You do. No. You shouldn't say comforting things if you don't mean them. I wasn't trying to comfort you. That sounded more like Willow. The mission timer flashed. 23:57:41. Eliminate Willow Liu. A new line appeared beneath it. Weapon assistance available. A black-handled knife materialized on Willow's desk. Willow looked at it. I looked at it. Furball hid behind my ankle. Willow calmly picked up the knife, examined the blade, and held it out to me. Take it. I stepped back. No. You were willing to steal from my cabinet. I wasn't willing, there was pain involved. Her eyes changed. What kind of pain? The warning flashed again. An extremely persuasive headache. George. Willow. Take the knife. I would rather not. Why? Because every time you give me something, it comes with terrible working conditions. She moved closer and pressed the handle into my palm. The knife was cold. My fingers tightened around it involuntarily. A message appeared. Weapon accepted. Target vulnerability detected. Strike now. My arm moved. Not because I wanted it to. My shoulder jerked forward, and the knife swept toward Willow's chest. I grabbed my wrist with my free hand. The blade stopped inches from her. Furball barked. Willow did not flinch. "Run," I shouted. Instead, she wrapped one hand around my wrist. The moment she touched me, the invisible pressure weakened. I dragged the knife away from her. The system pushed harder. My muscles locked. My knees shook. Every nerve in my arm burned as if something had threaded wires through my bones and was pulling them one by one. Willow shifted her grip and pressed her other hand against my chest. The pain vanished. The knife fell to the carpet. I stumbled backward, gasping. Willow stared at her palm. Furball stared too. The mission message flickered. Target interference detected. Error. Error. Then the knife dissolved into black dust. Willow looked at me. "So that is how it controls you." I leaned against the desk. "You could have warned me that touching you stops it." "I wasn't certain." "You tested the theory by handing me a knife." "You resisted." "That was your plan." "You didn't stab me." "That is a very low standard for friendship." "We are not friends." "Then it is an excellent standard." Furball cautiously emerged from behind my leg. Willow looked directly at him. This time she did not pretend. "You can come out." Furball froze. "You can see him," I said. "I can see a badly dressed dog hiding behind a badly dressed man." I looked down at my borrowed clothes. "What's wrong with my outfit?" "The fact that you chose it." "A housekeeper chose it." "I'll speak with her." Furball's ears flattened. "You shouldn't be able to see me. I've seen your kind before. I'm unique. You look exactly like Adrian's system, except his wore a red tie." Furball glanced at his bow tie, as though questioning every fashion decision he had ever made. "You knew Adrian?" I asked. "No, I knew Alina." "The dead target." Willow walked to the red cabinet and removed another file. This one held Alina Vale's photograph. She was young, smiling, and standing in front of a university building. "My older sister attended school with her," Willow said. "Alina began behaving strangely after meeting Adrian. She said he would appear wherever she went. He knew things no stranger should know. Her favorite foods, private memories, even the route she took home. Because his system told him." That was her theory. No one believed her. "What happened the night she died?" "Adrian contacted her and asked to meet. He claimed the system had ordered him to make her choose between him and her family." "That doesn't sound like romance." It was isolation." Willow's voice remained controlled, but the fingers holding Alina's photograph tightened. Alina refused him. On her way home, her car accelerated on its own and went through a barrier. Adrian vanished soon afterward. Furball lowered his head. Willow looked at him. "Was Adrian ordered to kill her?" "I don't have access to another host's missions." "That isn't what I asked." Furball remained silent. The system timer continued counting down. 23:43:08. Willow closed the folder. "It wants you to kill me because I discovered the pattern. I'm not going to do it. You may not be given a choice." "Then keep touching me." Her eyebrows rose. I heard my own words. "I meant when the system attacks." "Of course you did. Don't make this strange. You managed that without assistance." Her affection meter returned. Affection too. It was positive. Apparently, nearly stabbing someone counted as romantic progress if you resisted at the last moment. Relationships were terrifying. Chapter 7. Willow locked the office doors and placed her palm against a hidden scanner beneath the desk. One of the bookshelves slid aside. Behind it was a narrow elevator. I stared at the opening. "You have a secret elevator in your office?" "Yes." "Why?" "To reach the secret floor." "Naturally." We entered. Furball stayed near the office door. Willow looked at him. "You're coming too." "I don't take orders from targets." Willow extended her hand toward me. Furball immediately entered the elevator. His dignity had a shorter lifespan than mine. The doors closed. We descended beneath the tower. How far down does this go? I asked. 6 floors. Your building only has 2 underground levels. Officially. Do your shareholders know? No. Tax authorities? No. Fire department? She looked at me. I'm going to stop asking. That would be wise. The elevator opened into a room filled with computer screens, glass cabinets, paper files, and equipment I could not identify. Thick metal covered the walls. There were no windows and only half the ceiling lights worked. I stepped outside. You built a secret laboratory, but didn't budget for replacement bulbs. The lights began failing last week. Did you call maintenance? No. Why not? Everyone who entered this room forgot it existed within an hour. I stepped back into the elevator. Willow caught my sleeve. You're staying. I suddenly support forgetting. She pulled me inside. Furball moved slowly between the tables. His tablet had gone blank. The system can't hear us here, Willow said. Furball looked up sharply. How? The walls contain a mineral recovered from the scene of Alina's accident. It interferes with system energy. You built all this from material inside a wrecked car. Some people collect stamps. I collect evidence. There are healthier hobbies. They're less useful. The mission timer disappeared from my vision. For the first time since waking in the hotel, the pressure behind my eyes was gone. I could breathe without feeling something watching from inside my skull. Willow turned to Furball. Now tell us the truth. He sat down. I don't know the entire truth. Tell us what you do know. Furball looked at me. Systems like me are assigned to hosts. We identify people who died with high levels of regret, then offer them a chance to live again. That part was true, I asked. Yes. What isn't true? The mission is not designed to reward you. My stomach sank. You said I could return home. You can. If I make Willow love me. Furball was silent. Willow answered for him. The host returns home. The target does not survive. I stared at her. She crossed the room and activated a screen. A list of names appeared. 438 hosts. Most were marked complete or corrupted. Beside each host was a target. Almost every completed target was dead. What happens to them? I asked. Furball's voice became quiet. The system takes the emotional bond. That sentence means nothing. It means the target's feelings become energy. Affection, fear, jealousy, grief, dependence. The stronger the emotional attachment, the more energy the central system receives. My hands curled into fists. So when the meter reaches 90%, the system extracts everything. Everything. The target loses the emotions connected to the host. Sometimes they lose memories. Sometimes their personality collapses. Sometimes their body cannot withstand the extraction. Sometimes they die. Yes. Willow leaned against a table. Her face showed no surprise. She had already known. I looked at the records again. Then why issue an elimination mission now? Because Willow interferes with extraction, Furball said. Her body contains residual system energy. Willow's gaze hardened. From where? I don't know. You said the mineral stops the system. It does. Then why does my touch interrupt its control? Furball examined her for a long moment. You may have absorbed energy from Alina's system at the accident site. I was never there. No, Willow said slowly, but my sister was. The room became quiet. She helped identify Alina's body, Willow continued. She gave me Alina's necklace afterward. I wore it for years. Your diamond necklace? I asked. No, a small blue pendant. Furball jumped to his feet. Where is it? Willow opened a glass drawer and removed a blue stone, suspended from a silver chain. Furball backed away. The stone glowed faintly. That is a system core fragment. My mouth went dry. What does it do? It should not exist. That wasn't my question. When a system avatar is destroyed, its core returns to the central network. If part of Adrian's system remained behind, it means someone prevented the return. Elena, Willow asked. Possibly. Willow held the pendant toward Furball. His outline flickered. For half a second, he was not a little white dog. He was a thin young man wearing a black uniform. His face was pale, and metal bands circled both wrists. Then the image vanished. The dog returned. I stared at him. You're human. No. You just became a person. That was a visual error. You had hair. Dogs can have hair. You were wearing trousers. Fashion is subjective. Willow moved the pendant closer. Furball scrambled behind me. Keep that away. Who are you? I asked. His bow tie hung crooked. I'm System 439. No, what were you before? He stopped hiding. For once, he did not have a clever answer. I don't remember. Chapter 8, the 24-hour mission timer, resumed the instant we left the protected room. 20:16:55 Willow had a plan. It was a terrible plan. That was how I knew she had included me. Adrian appeared after 8 years because you arrived, she said as we rode down in the public elevator. He may still be nearby. You want to find the man who attacked us with a knife and then dissolved. Yes. Could we search for someone less dangerous, perhaps a tax accountant? No. A librarian with overdue fees? No. A child who stole candy? Willow pressed the lobby button. You can stay here. The system message flashed. Target separation detected. Pain stabbed through my chest. I reached for Willow's shoulder. The pain stopped. She looked at my hand. I take it back, I'm coming. Remove your hand. I'm considering my health. Consider it from farther away. I let go. We drove to the abandoned train station where Adrian had vanished 8 years earlier. Willow brought no security guards. When I questioned this decision, she explained that the people around us would become targets if the system discovered they knew too much. I hated that she was right. Furball sat in the back seat of the car. Adrian is dangerous, he said. Corrupted hosts no longer distinguish between system instructions and their own thoughts. What does corruption mean? I asked. Too many forced missions, too many punishments. Eventually, the host's identity begins breaking apart. Can that happen to me? Neither Furball nor Willow answered. Wonderful. The train station stood beyond the city limits. Weeds grew through cracks in the platforms. Most of the roof had collapsed, leaving twisted steel exposed beneath the cloudy sky. Willow handed me a flashlight. Stay close. That sounds almost caring. It's practical. If you attempt to attack me again, I need to reach you. There it is. We entered the station. Old posters peeled from the walls. Broken glass crunched beneath our shoes. Somewhere in the darkness, water dripped with irritating regularity. Furball's outline flickered. We should leave. Why? Willow asked. This area is saturated with system energy. I aimed the flashlight toward the ticket counters. Blue symbols had been carved into the walls. They resembled the messages that appeared in front of my eyes. Willow photographed them. Furball read them aloud. Hosts enter through regret. Targets open through attachment. Extraction begins through willing surrender. I felt sick. So the target has to choose the host. Yes, Furball said. Forced affection creates weak energy. Genuine love produces much more. The system engineers danger and conflict until people depend on each other. Willow's voice was cold. It doesn't create love. It creates captivity and calls the result love. A slow clap echoed through the station. Adrian emerged from behind a pillar. The blue cracks were gone from his face, but his eyes looked empty. "Very good," he said. "Alina took months to understand." Willow moved in front of me. I looked at her back. "Why are you protecting me? You're less useful with a knife in your chest. Your concern is deeply moving." Adrian smiled. "You two are doing well, much faster than we did." "What happened to Alina?" Willow asked. His smile vanished. "She chose her family. And the system killed her." "No, I did." Furball stiffened. Adrian touched the scar on his chin. "It took control of the car, but I was the one who asked her to meet me. I thought one more conversation would change her mind. I thought if she loved me enough, we would both be saved." He laughed bitterly. "The system never said we would both be saved. I added that part myself." "Why did you return?" I asked. "To stop the next extraction. By stealing Willow's necklace and framing me. I needed her to bring you close." Willow's expression changed. "You knew George was coming." "Not George specifically. A new host. The network has been trying to eliminate you for years, but the core fragment protected you. It needed a host who could get close enough for you to lower your guard." He looked at me. "You were selected because you are harmless." I took offense. Then I remembered how I had died. It was difficult to argue. Adrian continued. "Lonely, overworked, desperate for another chance. The perfect host believes obedience is survival." That sentence hit harder than I expected. In my first life, I had obeyed every instruction. Stay late. Work weekends. Skip lunch. Answer messages while sick. I had confused compliance with responsibility until it killed me. Now I was doing it again. Different office. Different manager. Same leash. The mission timer flashed. 18:02:11. Host hesitation detected. Punishment escalation authorized. Pain tore through my body. I fell to my knees. Willow grabbed my arm, but this time her touch only weakened it. The system had adapted. My vision turned blue. A new instruction appeared. "Kill the target." My hand reached for Willow's throat. I fought it. My fingers shook inches from her neck. "Get away from me," I gasped. Willow did the opposite. She knelt in front of me and took my face between her hands. "George, look at me. I'm trying not to kill you. You are not the system. That distinction may become irrelevant very soon. Look at me." I forced my eyes toward hers. Her face blurred through the blue light. "You do not owe it obedience," she said. "It can erase me. Then we'll stop it. You don't know if we can." "No." That was not encouraging. "I don't make promises I can't keep." Her grip tightened. "But I will not let it turn you into Adrian." The pain surged. I screamed. Willow pressed the blue pendant against my chest. Light exploded around us. Everything disappeared. Chapter 9. I woke inside my old office. Gray carpet. White walls. Rows of cubicles beneath lights that never stopped buzzing. My computer displayed the final spreadsheet I had been correcting when I died. For one terrible moment, I believed the second life had been a dream. Then Furball appeared in the chair beside me. He was human again. Young, thin, and exhausted. Metal bands circled his wrists, with glowing wires stretching from them into the ceiling. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "Where is here?" "My control space." I stood. The office extended endlessly in every direction. At every desk sat another person. Some cried. Some stared blankly at their screens. Some whispered to invisible companions. Above each person floated a mission. Make her jealous. Isolate HIM from his family. Prove your devotion. Punish her rejection. Force HIM to choose you. The words made my stomach turn. These are hosts. The ones currently connected to the network. How many? Thousands. A voice came through the office speakers. Warm, calm, professional. It sounded exactly like my old manager. George, your performance has fallen below expectations. I looked toward the ceiling. A black shape flowed between the lights. Furball grabbed my arm. Don't answer. The voice continued. You were given another life. You were given resources, guidance, and a desirable target. In exchange, you were asked to complete a simple task. Kill someone. Eliminate an obstacle. The cubicle walls began closing around us. You wasted your first life because you lacked ambition, the voice said. Do not waste your second through weakness. Anger cut through my fear. I died doing everything I was told. You died because you were replaceable. The word echoed across the endless office. Replaceable. Every host at every desk began typing faster. Furball pulled at his restraints. George, don't listen. The black shape descended. It had no face, only thousands of glowing blue eyes. You want to return home, it whispered. Your family mourns you, your friends blame themselves. Complete the mission, and you may see them again. Images appeared across my computer screen. My mother sitting alone at her kitchen table. My brother staring at an unread message from me. My empty desk already assigned to someone else. My chest ached. Kill Willow Liu, the voice said. Return home, finish what you started. The screen changed. Willow appeared in the abandoned station, kneeling beside my unconscious body. Adrian stood behind her. A blade formed in his hand. Willow, I shouted. She could not hear me. Choose, the system said, her life or yours. It expected me to hesitate. Honestly, I did. I wanted to go home. I wanted another morning with my family. I wanted to answer the messages I had ignored because work always seemed more urgent. I wanted to apologize for treating my own life like something that could be postponed. But Willow was alive. Her life was not payment for mine. I picked up the keyboard and smashed the computer screen. The office went silent. I quit. The system's 1,000 eyes narrowed. Furball stared at me. You cannot quit, the voice said. I've heard that before. The cubicle walls cracked. You belong to the network. I don't even belong to myself on most weekdays. I struck the screen again. However, I definitely don't belong to you. Every monitor in the office flickered. Missions vanished one after another. The hosts lifted their heads. The system screamed. Furball's restraints broke. He grabbed my hand. The old office shattered around us. Chapter 10, I woke to the sound of fighting. Adrian had Willow pinned against a pillar. The blade hovered near her throat. His arm shook violently as he fought the system's control. Move, he shouted at her. Willow drove her knee into his stomach. Adrian stumbled backward. She twisted his wrist, took the knife, and threw it across the platform. I pushed myself upright. My entire body felt as if I had been dropped down several flights of stairs and then criticized for landing poorly. Willow. She looked toward me. Adrian's hand closed around her ankle. She fell. Blue light spread across his face. Target must be eliminated, he said. I grabbed the nearest object and struck him over the head. It was an old station sign. The sign broke in half. Adrian did not. He turned slowly. You should have used the metal end, Willow said from the floor. Thank you, I'll remember that next time. Adrian lunged. I ran. He followed me across the platform. Why is he faster than me? He has been dead longer, Furball replied. That should make him slower. Furball was a dog again, racing beside me. I jumped over a fallen bench. Adrian went through it. Ahead, the tracks disappeared into a dark tunnel. Bad plan, Furball shouted. I don't have any good ones. A train horn sounded. That was impossible. The station had been abandoned for years. A blue light appeared inside the tunnel. Adrian stopped. his face filled with fear. The extraction train. I looked at Furball. The what? The system is opening a gate. It intends to remove everyone in the station. Willow joined us. How do we close it? The core fragment. She pulled out the blue pendant. Its light had weakened. Adrian stared at it. Elena. For the first time, his expression became human. He reached toward the pendant. Blue wires burst from the tunnel and wrapped around his arms. He screamed as they dragged him toward the tracks. I caught his wrist. Willow grabbed mine. Furball bit the leg of my trousers. This formation is not useful, I shouted. Pull, Willow ordered. The train light grew brighter. Hundreds of voices whispered from the tunnel. The lost hosts. The dead targets. Emotions stolen and trapped inside the network. Adrian looked at me. You can't save me. I'm getting tired of people deciding that. You need to break the core. Willow looked down at the pendant. If I destroy it, we lose our protection. You gain a weapon. Adrian closed his fingers around mine. His eyes were clear now. Tell Elena I'm sorry. She's dead, I said. A faint smile touched his face. So am I. Before I could stop him, he released my hand. The wires pulled him into the tunnel. Willow threw the pendant onto the tracks. I grabbed the metal half of the broken sign. This time, I took her earlier advice. I brought it down on the blue stone. The pendant shattered. A shock wave exploded through the station. The approaching light collapsed inward. The wires snapped. The system screamed through every speaker, every broken light, and every piece of steel. Then the tunnel went dark. A man fell onto the tracks. Adrian. No blue cracks. No glowing eyes. Just a tired man in torn clothes. We climbed down and pulled him onto the platform. He was breathing. Barely, but breathing. Furball scanned him with the tablet. His connection is gone. Can he recover? Willow asked. I don't know. She pulled out her phone and called an emergency number. What will you tell the doctors? I asked. That we found him unconscious. At an abandoned train station. Yes. With no records for 8 years. Yes. They may ask questions. They usually stop after I purchase the hospital. I believed her. The mission timer returned. 12:00:00. It had frozen at 12 hours. Beneath it was another message. Host rebellion confirmed. Target extraction scheduled. Network response incoming. I showed Furball. His tail lowered. Destroying the fragment weakened the system's local control, but now it knows we are working together. Good, Willow said. I looked at her. Good. I've spent years trying to prove it exists. Now it has finally noticed me. You sound pleased about that. I dislike being ignored. Her affection meter changed. Affection 14. Trust 9. Target status, allied. I smiled despite myself. Congratulations, you officially hate me less. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing. She looked at me for a long moment. Thank you for choosing not to kill me. I continue to believe that is a low standard. For you, I'm adjusting my expectations. The ambulance sirens grew louder outside. Furball's tablet suddenly turned black. A blue eye appeared on the screen. New words formed beneath it. A system cannot be defeated by a host. A target cannot escape extraction. One of you will betray the other. The screen went blank. Furball trembled. Willow read the message over his shoulder. Then she looked at me. The system expected distrust. It expected jealousy, fear, and betrayal. Those were the tools it had used against every host and target before us. I held out my hand. Willow looked at it. What? A partnership. You tried to stab me this morning. Technically, the system tried. I provided resistance and emotional support. You screamed, very supportively. After a moment, she took my hand. Her grip was warm and firm. Until the system is destroyed, she said. Then what? Then I decide whether to have you arrested for the necklace. That seems unfair. You also damaged my office. The system created the knife. You opened the cabinet. You told me to remain in the room. You signed the contract. I sighed. There was no defeating this woman in an argument. Perhaps defeating the central system would be easier. Above Willow's head, the affection meter rose by 1 point. Affection 15. Then a final message appeared in front of both of us. Not just me. Willow could see it too. Final extraction begins in 7 days. Only one world will survive. Our hands remained joined. The abandoned station shook. Far beneath us, something enormous woke up. The system was no longer hiding. Neither were we. Chapter 11, we had 7 days to save 2 worlds. Willow still insisted on attending her 9 o'clock board meeting. Shouldn't we focus on the supernatural network preparing to erase millions of people? I asked. We are. She entered the elevator at Liu Global and pressed the button for the executive floor. I followed her inside. Furball slipped between the closing doors at the last second. There are system fragments inside the company, Willow said. If the network intends to begin extraction here, someone on the board is helping it. You suspect your own directors. I suspect everyone. That must make company celebrations uncomfortable. I don't attend them. Of course you don't. The elevator began rising. Willow handed me a folder containing photographs of 12 board members. 4 had been circled in red. Each of these directors approved unusual transfers during the past 3 months, she explained. The money was routed through companies that do not exist. I studied the photographs. Do supernatural villains need bank accounts? Someone purchased the equipment beneath the abandoned station. That is disappointingly ordinary. Most evil is. Furball sat on my shoe and looked at the photographs. His tablet remained unstable after the system's message at the station. Blue lines occasionally moved across the screen without forming recognizable words. He pointed at one of the directors. I've seen him. The man in the photograph was Harold Vance, Liu Global's chief financial officer. He was in his late 50s, with silver hair and the kind of smile that belonged on a brochure explaining why employees would no longer receive pensions. Where? Willow asked. In George's control space. I looked down at him. He was one of the hosts. No, he was standing above them. The elevator stopped. The doors opened onto the executive floor. Harold Vance stood outside. His smile widened. Good morning, Miss Liu. Then he looked at me. His eyes flashed blue. The elevator doors closed before we could move. Willow pressed the emergency button. Nothing happened. The elevator began descending. Vast. My stomach rose toward my throat. Furball dug his claws into my trousers. We're falling. I noticed. Willow studied the control panel, as if the elevator were merely running a few minutes late. Emergency brakes have been disabled. Does your calm voice fix them? No. Then panic with the rest of us. The floor numbers blurred. 34. 27. 19. I searched the walls for anything useful. There was a handrail, a security camera, and a framed notice promising that Liu Global placed safety above profit. The notice seemed increasingly dishonest. Willow removed her shoe. I stared at her. If this is really how you handle emergencies, I have several questions. She drove the metal heel into the control panel. Sparks burst from the wall. The elevator jerked. We were thrown to the floor. The emergency brake screamed. The car stopped somewhere between the 9th and 10th floors. I lay on my back, staring at the ceiling. Furball had landed on my chest. Willow was sitting beside me, still holding her shoe. "I withdraw my criticism," I said. "That was effective." She stood and pressed the emergency intercom. A cheerful recorded voice informed us that assistance was on the way. "Harold knows we identified him," she said. "He also attempted to turn us into a basement decoration. He acts quickly. You almost sound impressed." "I appreciate efficiency." The mission interface appeared before me. System assistance available. Restore elevator operation by accepting revised contract. Beneath the message was a blue button. Accept. I moved away from it. "No." Willow looked at the empty air before me. "What is it offering?" "A revised contract. Terms. It fixes the elevator." "In exchange for what?" That part is probably hidden beneath several pages of supernatural legal language. Furball's tablet lit up. "Don't accept anything. A revised contract can remove your resistance privileges." "My what?" "The system cannot fully control you while you actively reject the mission. If you accept new terms, voluntary consent resets the control threshold." "So it wants me to agree to become easier to control." "Yes." The elevator groaned. We dropped half a floor. Willow lost her balance. I caught her around the waist. For one brief moment, we were pressed together in the dim emergency light. Her hands rested against my chest. The affection meter appeared above her. Affection 22. My heart began beating faster. That was probably because we were suspended over an elevator shaft. "Mostly." Willow looked up at me. "Are you going to let go?" "I'm considering it." "Consider faster." The system message flashed red. "Accept revised contract. Time remaining 10 seconds. The elevator dropped another inch. Willow glanced toward the ceiling hatch. "Lift me." "What?" "The hatch. You want to climb out. Unless you prefer the basement." She stepped into my hands before I could answer. I pushed her upward. She opened the hatch, climbed onto the roof of the elevator, and reached down. "Come on." The countdown reached 5 seconds. I grabbed her hand. She pulled while I climbed through the opening. Furball jumped onto my shoulder. We reached the elevator roof as the countdown hit 0. The brakes released. The car fell. Willow and I jumped toward the maintenance ladder inside the shaft. She caught a rung. I caught Willow. Furball caught my collar with his teeth. The elevator crashed below us. The entire shaft shook. For several seconds, we hung in silence. Then Furball's muffled voice came from behind my neck. "I would like to revise my opinion about corporate employment." I tightened my grip around Willow's waist. "This is not the time. I prefer unemployment. Everyone does when they're hanging inside an elevator shaft." Willow looked down at the smoking wreckage. Then she looked up. "The board meeting begins in 11 minutes. I stared at her. "You cannot be serious." "I have never missed one. Your elevator tried to kill you." "And failed." She began climbing. I had officially partnered with a lunatic. Unfortunately, she was the only lunatic keeping me alive. Chapter 12. We entered the boardroom 3 minutes late. Willow was wearing one shoe. My shirt was torn. Furball's bow tie had twisted around to the back of his neck. The directors stared at us. Harold Vance sat near the head of the table, smiling pleasantly. "I heard there was an elevator malfunction," he said. Willow took her seat. "Yes. I'm relieved you weren't injured. I'm relieved you attended today." His smile faltered. I sat beside Willow. 12 directors surrounded the polished table. 4 had faint blue lights moving beneath their skin. Harold was one of them. Beside him sat Abigail Shaw, Director of Operations. 2 others, Marcus Dean and Victor Song, occupied seats near the windows. The system had not merely infiltrated the company. It had acquired voting rights. Willow placed a folder in front of every director. $300 million has been transferred out of Liu Global through fictitious suppliers, she said. The transfers were authorized by 4 people in this room. Harold did not open his folder. Those are serious allegations. They are. You should have consulted the audit committee before making them publicly. I did. The boardroom doors opened. A team of internal investigators entered. Harold's blue eyes brightened. Every electronic device in the room activated at once. Phones rang. Tablets flashed. The wall display turned blue. A message appeared. Loyalty assessment commencing. The unaffected directors froze. Abigail Shaw stood. You have no authority to investigate us. Willow looked at her. I own the company. The company no longer belongs to you. Then I'll take it back. Abigail lunged across the table. Willow moved aside. The system control directors attacked simultaneously. Marcus grabbed one of the investigators. Victor lifted a chair. Harold remained seated, watching with calm amusement. I took the safest possible action. I hid beneath the table. Furball crawled under it with me. You should help her. She has 1 shoe and is still winning. Above us, Willow struck Abigail with a folder, pushed Marcus into the wall, and avoided the chair Victor threw across the room. The chair smashed the display. Blue sparks rained down. A director who had not been controlled crawled beneath the table beside us. He looked at me. I looked at him. Emergency strategy meeting, I explained. He nodded rapidly. Willow shouted my name. I reluctantly emerged. Victor charged toward her. I grabbed the rolling chair beside me and pushed it into his path. He tripped, landed in the chair, and rolled directly through the open boardroom doors. The internal investigators stared as he passed. Please detain that man, I called. Marcus reached for Willow. I picked up her missing shoe, which she had apparently carried all the way from the elevator shaft, and threw it. The heel struck him in the forehead. He collapsed. Willow looked at me. You threw my shoe. It worked. It was Italian. It's still Italian, it's simply farther away. Harold rose from his chair. The blue energy beneath his skin intensified. You believe this company matters, he asked. You believe ownership protects you. His voice layered over itself until it sounded like hundreds of people speaking together. You are a temporary concentration of memory and emotion, nothing more. Willow faced him. Then why are you frightened of me? The lights flickered. Harold's expression twisted. Blue wires burst from the wall and wrapped around his body. His skin became translucent. Furball jumped onto the table. The network is withdrawing its fragment. Can we stop it? I asked. Not without a core. We had destroyed the only one we possessed. Harold's body began collapsing inward. Willow grabbed a glass water pitcher and poured it over the table's damaged control panel. Electricity exploded across the surface. The blue wires convulsed. Harold screamed. For a moment, his natural eyes returned. Basement, he gasped. Willow stepped forward. What is in the basement? Gateway. The wires pulled harder. Harold's fingers dug into the table. Your father built it. Willow went still. The network tore the fragment free. A sphere of blue light shot into the wall display and disappeared. Harold collapsed. Alive but unconscious. The other controlled directors fell moments later. Silence filled the room. I looked at Willow. She was staring at Harold. Your father built the gateway. He died 10 years ago. That doesn't answer the question. No, she said quietly, it doesn't. Chapter 13. Willow's father had founded Liu Global. According to the public biography, Richard Liu had been a visionary businessman, a devoted parent, and a generous philanthropist. According to Willow, he had been a controlling tyrant who trusted no one. He built the first tower on this site 30 years ago, she explained, as we entered the protected room beneath the company. The current building was constructed around it. And you never discovered a gateway beneath it. I discovered sealed corridors and unauthorized power systems. I assumed they were abandoned research facilities. You own a secret sixth-floor laboratory. My standards for abnormal architecture are flexible. Adrian was waiting for us. He had escaped from the hospital. More accurately, Willow had arranged for him to be transferred, and he had removed his medical equipment halfway through the process because he disliked being transported like cargo. He looked much older without the blue energy sustaining him. His hair was gray at the temples, and deep lines surrounded his eyes. "You found the gateway," he said. "Harold said it was beneath the basement," Willow replied. Adrian examined a map of the original tower. Richard Liu was one of the first targets to survive an extraction. Willow's face lost color. "My father was a target. Your mother was the host." The room became silent. Willow rarely showed emotion openly. This time, shock broke through every defense. "My mother died when I was 4. The system marked her mission as complete," Adrian said. "Your father survived because she interrupted the extraction." "How?" "She transferred part of the system's core into him. The network could no longer drain his emotions without damaging itself. The same kind of fragment Alina left behind." "Yes." Furball stared at the map. Richard Liu must have studied the fragment inside him. He built the gateway to reach the network. "Did he succeed?" I asked. Adrian looked toward Willow. "He disappeared for 3 days shortly before his death. When he returned, every record connected to the project had been destroyed." Willow turned away. Her shoulders were rigid. I wanted to say something comforting. Unfortunately, feelings had never been my area of expertise. My family handled emotions by offering food, changing the subject, or criticizing each other's parking. I moved beside her. "You don't have to continue today." "Yes, I do. The gateway will still be there tomorrow. One world may not be." There it was again. Willow's refusal to stop. To eat. To sleep. To admit that she was not made of reinforced concrete. I recognized it because I had once called the same behavior dedication. "You are not the only person who can solve this," I said. Her eyes flashed. "It is beneath my company. My father built it. My family brought the system here. And now you have help. I don't need protection." "I didn't say protection." "Then what are you offering?" "Annoying commentary, occasional competence, emotional support when appropriate." "When is it appropriate?" "I haven't identified that yet." A tiny smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Affection 31. Furball's tablet suddenly chimed. A file appeared on its screen. System Avatar 439. Source Identity Recovery available. Requirement: enter gateway. He stared at the message. "You shouldn't do it," Adrian said. Furball looked up. "Why?" "A system avatar is created by stripping a failed host's identity and converting what remains into an enforcement tool. Recovering the original identity may destroy the avatar." I crouched beside Furball. "Do you want to know?" His small body trembled. "What if I was terrible?" "You are terrible." He glared at me. "You complain constantly, hide during fights, and provide romantic advice that should be legally prohibited," I continued. "Whatever you were before cannot lower my opinion very much. That is the worst reassurance I have ever received." I learned from Willow. She ignored us. Mostly. Furball studied the message. "I want to know my name." "Then we'll find it." The tablet flashed. The metal bands from his human form briefly appeared around his front legs. A memory filled the protected room. Not an image on a screen. A memory projected directly into our minds. A young man stood on a bridge beneath falling snow. A woman waited behind him. He was crying. She was shouting his name. Daniel. The memory shifted. The young man faced a floating blue screen. Final mission. Jump. Your target will follow if her love is genuine. Daniel stepped onto the railing. The woman ran toward him. He jumped. She did not. The system caught him before he hit the river. It transformed him, erased him, punished him for failing to make his target sacrifice herself. The memory ended. Furball lay motionless on the floor. I picked him up. His eyes opened. Daniel, he whispered. That was your name. I tried to make her prove she loved me. The system made you. I still jumped. You were manipulated. I believed it. Adrian sat beside us. We all did. Daniel looked toward him. What happened to her? Adrian searched the recovered network files. A name appeared. Maya BNNTT. Target status released. Current status alive. Daniel made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. His dog form flickered. The human version of him appeared for a second, covering his face with both hands. She lived. Yes, I said. She lived. For the first time since I met him, Daniel smiled without pretending. Chapter 14. We found the gateway entrance at midnight. It was hidden beneath the oldest section of Liu Global's foundation. A freight elevator took us beyond the official basement, descending until the floor indicator stopped displaying numbers. Willow, Adrian, Daniel, and I entered a circular chamber. At its center stood a black door. There was no wall around it. No hinges. No handle. Just a door standing alone beneath the ground. Blue light leaked from its edges. My mission timer reached 3 days. We had lost time. The network was accelerating the extraction. Willow approached the door. Symbols appeared across its surface. Target access confirmed. Host access confirmed. Avatar access confirmed. Corrupted host access DNIED. The final line referred to Adrian. He smiled bitterly. It remembers me. Stay here, Willow said. Keep the gateway open. You may not come back. Then close it before the extraction reaches this world. Adrian nodded. Willow placed her hand against the door. It opened. Warm sunlight poured through. On the other side was my mother's kitchen. She stood at the counter making tea. I stopped breathing. Mom. She turned. The cup fell from her hand. George. I stepped through the doorway. Willow caught my arm. This isn't real. My mother rushed toward me. Tears covered her face. You're alive. Every thought disappeared from my mind. I pulled away from Willow. My mother wrapped her arms around me. She felt real. Her voice, her warmth, the familiar smell of her kitchen. I had imagined this moment every day since I arrived in Willow's world. I'm sorry, I whispered. I should have called more. I should have come home. You're here now. Behind me, Willow said my name. I turned. She had changed. Her clothes were stained with blood. A knife rested in her hand. Daniel's motionless body lay at her feet. She killed him, my mother said. Willow looked down at the knife in horror. I didn't. The kitchen disappeared. I stood inside the network. Thousands of pathways stretched through a blue void. Memories floated around us like glass screens. On one, Willow handed me the knife in her office. On another, she pushed me toward the elevator shaft. On another, she spoke privately with Adrian. Her voice echoed from the memory. When George completes the mission, I'll use the extraction to enter his world. I stared at her. You planned this. No. The system spoke in my mother's voice. Willow knew from the beginning. She needs your connection to escape her world. More memories appeared. Willow examining my identity card before I woke in the bathtub. Willow instructing staff to move me to the villa. Willow standing over my sleeping body with the blue pendant. Each scene confirmed the same story. She had used me. A message appeared. Surrender target. Return home immediately. A doorway opened behind my mother. My family waited beyond it. My brother. My friends. The life I had lost. Willow stood alone on the opposite side. Her affection meter had vanished. Above her head was a single word. Deceiver. George, she said, the memories are false. How do I know? You don't. The answer hurt more than a denial. She lowered the knife. You have to decide. The system pressed harder. Images entered my mind. Willow laughing with Harold. Willow ordering Adrian to attack me. Willow discussing how easily I could be controlled. My anger rose. She had never trusted me. She had admitted it herself. She had investigated hosts for years. Perhaps my arrival had simply given her the tools she needed. My mother held out her hand. Come home. I took a step toward her. Willow did not stop me. Why aren't you saying anything? I demanded. What would convince you? Tell me you never used me. I used you to investigate the system. The honesty struck like a slap. Tell me you care if I survive. I do. Why? Her expression changed. Fear appeared in her eyes. Not fear of the system. Fear of answering. The system used my mother's voice again. She cannot say it because it is not true. Willow looked at the floor. Then she reached into her coat and removed a blue shard. A second core fragment. Adrian had not known it existed. Neither had Daniel. Willow had hidden it from us. The system had been right. You lied, I said. I withheld one piece of information. That is a wealthy person's definition of lying. The fragment can close the gateway. Why didn't you tell us? Because it requires a target to remain inside the network. I understood. You planned to sacrifice yourself. I planned to make sure your world survived. Anger rose inside me again, but this time it was different. You don't get to decide that alone. One world must anchor the collapse. We don't know that. I do. My father left instructions inside the core. So your plan was to bring me here, send me home, and trap yourself. If necessary. You said we were partners. We are. Partners discuss suicidal plans. Would you have agreed? No. That is why I didn't discuss it. I turned away before I said something unforgivable. My mother reached for me. Her fingers passed through my shoulder. I looked at her. The illusion smiled gently. Exactly the way I remembered. Too exactly. My mother never smiled when she was worried. She cleaned. She made tea. She asked whether I had brought a jacket, regardless of the season. She did not stand still and offer perfect forgiveness. You aren't her. The illusion's face twisted. George. My mother would have already criticized my weight. The kitchen flickered. She would ask why my shirt is torn. Then she would blame my old manager even though he isn't here. The illusion cracked. I looked at Willow. And she would never tell me to trade another person's life for mine. My mother's image shattered. The system screamed. My memories of Willow broke apart around us. Beneath the false images were the real ones. Willow catching my arm in the elevator shaft. Willow stopping the system's punishment. Willow holding my face in the train station and reminding me that I was not the system. Willow taking my hand after it warned us we would betray each other. Those memories were imperfect. Complicated. Sometimes irritating. That was how I knew they were real. I walked back to her. You lied to me. Yes. I'm still angry. I assumed so. You are not sacrificing yourself. We may not have another option. Then we'll create one. For once, Willow smiled without restraint. Affection 55. The system reacted immediately. Blue chains erupted from the void. They wrapped around Willow and pulled her away from me. The network's voice filled every pathway. Attachment threshold achieved. My blood turned cold. We had done exactly what it wanted. Our genuine trust had given it a new connection. Extraction commencing. Willow screamed. Light poured from her chest. Memories flowed into the network. Our first meeting. The office. The abandoned station. Her growing trust. Every feeling she had refused to name. The system began taking them all. Chapter 15. I grabbed the chains around Willow. They burned through my palms. Daniel returned to human form and pulled beside me. It's using the host contract. How do we break it? The contract is tied to your second life. Then remove it. If I do, your body will collapse. Can it be transferred? To an avatar? I looked at him. No. Daniel smiled. I wasn't asking. He placed both hands against my chest. The metal bands around his wrists opened. A blue thread emerged from my body. It connected my heart to the center of the network. Daniel grabbed it. His human form began breaking apart. You'll disappear, I said. I already disappeared once. Maya is alive. I know. You can find her. As a dog. She may like dogs. This is not the time for jokes. It is always the time for jokes when someone is planning a heroic sacrifice. Daniel tightened his grip on the thread. I was created to enforce contracts. That means I can alter one. Without destroying yourself. He did not answer. Typical system behavior. The network threw us backward. Willow's memories continued draining away. Her eyes found mine. George, I'm here. I'm forgetting you. Panic broke her voice. I know. I don't want to. I know. The woman who had faced knives, corrupted hosts, and collapsing elevators without blinking was terrified because she could no longer remember the first ridiculous thing I said to her. I could not allow that. Not after spending my first life sacrificing every human connection for work. Not after she had spent years preparing to die alone. I pressed my hand against the contract thread. What are you doing? Daniel asked. Changing the mission. You cannot. The system changes it whenever convenient. You don't have authorization. I signed the contract. That does not make you an administrator. In my old job, signing documents I didn't understand made me responsible for everything. I pulled the thread toward me. The mission interface appeared. Primary objective, make Willow Liu fall in love with you. I reached into the words. They cut my fingers like glass. I dragged them apart. Primary objective, make Willow Liu fall. No, I said. I tore away another word. Primary objective, Willow Liu. The system fought back. My body began dissolving. Daniel held the contract steady. Choose a new objective. I looked at Willow. Not target. Not reward. Not payment. A person. Complicated, cold, stubborn, exhausted, brave, and terrible at accepting help. Free Willow Liu. The mission changed. Primary objective, free Willow Liu. The chains shattered. Her stolen memories rushed back into her. She fell into my arms. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Willow looked at me. You rewrote the contract. Yes. Your body is disappearing. I noticed. She grabbed the blue core fragment. I can stabilize you. No, it needs to close the gateway. George, if only one world can survive, close it from this side. Her face became cold. You promised we would create another option. I was optimistic. You lied. I learned from you. She struck me across the face. It was not her strongest blow. That almost made it worse. You do not get to lecture me about sacrificing myself and then do the same thing. That is fair criticism. She pressed the core fragment into my dissolving chest. Blue light spread through my body. The network pathways shook. Daniel stared at the new contract. You changed the mission, but not the reward. What reward? He showed us the final line. Mission completion reward. Return to original world. Beneath it, a second line appeared. Target release included. Willow looked at me. If the mission is to free me, then completing it returns both of us. The network screamed again. Every pathway began collapsing. Daniel transformed into Furball and fell into my arms. His tablet displayed one final direction. Reach Central Gateway. Complete mission. We ran. The network twisted around us, manufacturing doors, walls, and false memories. My old office appeared. I ran through it. Willow's boardroom appeared. She smashed through the conference table. The hotel bathroom appeared. I nearly tripped over the bathtub. Why is this memory considered important? Willow shouted. It was a very memorable evening. The central gateway appeared ahead. A circle of white light. Beyond it, I saw my original world. My family. My life. Behind us, the network took shape. Thousands of blue eyes opened in the darkness. You cannot remove the target, it said. Attachment belongs to the system. Willow took my hand. No, I replied. Attachment belongs to the people who feel it. We jumped through the gateway. The system followed. Chapter 16. I landed on the floor of my mother's kitchen. This time it was real. I knew because the floor was slightly sticky near the refrigerator, exactly as it had been since my brother spilled juice when he was 12, and no amount of cleaning had fully removed it. My mother stood at the counter. She turned. The cup in her hand fell. George. I pushed myself up. Hi, Mom. She crossed the room and slapped me. Then she hugged me so tightly I could not breathe. Then she slapped me again. That was definitely my mother. You disappeared for a year. I was dead. That is not an excuse for ignoring messages. I didn't have my phone. You could have borrowed one. Willow climbed through the gateway behind me. My mother stopped. She looked at Willow. Then she looked at our joined hands. Her expression changed immediately. You brought someone. I can explain. Willow extended her hand. Willow Liu. My mother ignored the offered hand and hugged her. Thank you for bringing him home. Willow stood stiffly inside the embrace. She looked at me with silent alarm. I smiled. For once, the frightening Willow Liu was the one asking me for rescue. Then the kitchen lights turned blue. The gateway remained open. Thousands of eyes appeared inside it. The system's voice shook the windows. Return the target. My mother released Willow. What is that? Work problem, I said. She picked up a frying pan. Of course it is. The blue darkness spilled through the gateway. Our worlds had not separated. The system had followed the new contract to its completion point. Daniel's tablet activated. Central system exposed. Physical vulnerability detected. Willow looked at the spreading darkness. We can destroy it here. How? The system entered a world without network infrastructure, Daniel explained. It has no hosts, fragments, or gateways to sustain it. That sounds positive. It will attempt to create them. The darkness moved toward my mother. I stepped in front of her. Willow raised the core fragment. Its light revealed a small shape inside the darkness. Not a monster. A child. Thin. Curled into itself. Wrapped in thousands of contracts. Daniel stared at it. The first host. The central system had never been an artificial intelligence. It was a person. Someone who had once accepted the first impossible mission. Someone whose fear of disappearing had grown until it consumed every host and target who came afterward. The child opened its eyes. I want to live. The words were small. Human. For the first time, I understood the system. I did not forgive it. Understanding was not forgiveness. You stole thousands of lives, Willow said. They were given willingly. No, I replied. They were given under threat. The contracts tightened around the child. I cannot survive without them. Daniel walked forward. His dog form changed into a human one. You told all of us the same thing. The child looked at him. Daniel removed the metal bands from his wrists. You taught us that survival justified everything. Lies, control, harm, but that is not living. He placed the bands on the floor. You can stop. I will disappear. Maybe. The system trembled. Daniel held out his hand. Or maybe you become something else. The blue eyes around us began closing. One at a time. The darkness retreated from the kitchen. The contracts loosened. Before the child could take Daniel's hand, an alarm sounded from the gateway. Network collapse imminent. All connected WORLDs will be erased. Willow looked at the core fragment. It still needs an anchor. The child smiled sadly. I am the anchor. The contracts began burning. Daniel ran toward the child. The gateway pulled them both backward. I caught Daniel's arm. Willow caught mine. My mother grabbed Willow. For the second time, we formed the least effective rescue chain in supernatural history. Let go, Daniel shouted. Stop saying that. The network needs me. It has taken enough. The child reached through the gateway and touched Daniel's hand. Every remaining contract shattered. Light consumed the kitchen. Willow's grip slipped. The gateway pulled her forward. I caught her wrist. For one terrifying second, she hung between worlds. George, I have you. A crack split the floor beneath me. My mother held my legs. This is the woman you brought home, she shouted. Yes. She is too much trouble. I know. Willow heard her. I can let go. Don't you dare, my mother and I shouted together. The gateway collapsed. Willow fell on top of me. Daniel landed nearby in dog form. The child was gone. The blue darkness had vanished. The kitchen was destroyed. One cabinet hung from the wall, every plate had broken. The refrigerator door stood open. My mother surveyed the damage. Then she looked at me. You have been home less than 5 minutes. I can pay for the repairs. With what money? Willow slowly raised her hand. My mother smiled at her. I like this one. Willow remained on top of me. Her hair had fallen across her face. Her expression was exhausted, relieved, and unexpectedly gentle. The affection meter appeared one last time. Affection 91. Then it flickered. A crack moved through it. Willow reached up and touched the floating display. It shattered beneath her fingers. No more scores, she said. No more targets. No more missions. Daniel's tablet chimed. A final message appeared. Contract terminated. Host status, alive. Target status, free. Avatar status, pending. Gateway status, unstable. Secondary world access possible. Willow looked toward the place where the gateway had disappeared. Her company, her home, and her life remained on the other side. We can return, she asked. Daniel nodded. If we build a stable gateway. How long will that take? I asked. He examined the tablet. Several months. Willow was silent. I knew what she was thinking. She had escaped extraction, only to become stranded away from everything she had built. I took her hand. We'll fix it. You don't know how. No. You don't have the necessary technology. No. You were an accountant. An excellent accountant. You died correcting a spreadsheet. That detail feels unnecessary. My mother pointed toward the ruined kitchen. You can both stay here until you fix it. Willow looked at her. Then at me. Both. Separate rooms, my mother said. I'm not unreasonable. Willow's expression suggested that she considered this statement highly questionable. Daniel jumped onto a chair. What about me? My mother examined him. You need a bath. His ears lowered. I helped save 2 worlds. And now you smell like a train station. She picked him up and carried him toward the bathroom. Daniel looked back at us in horror. Host, help me. We're no longer under contract. George. The bathroom door closed. Water began running. For the first time since I woke up in Willow's bathtub, there was no timer floating in front of me. No punishment warning. No affection score. No order telling me what to feel. Willow sat beside me on the damaged kitchen floor. What happens now? She asked. I thought about my family, her company, the gateway, and the thousands of surviving hosts who might still need help. Then I looked at her. Now we start over. As partners. If you want. Her fingers tightened around mine. And after the gateway is repaired. I smiled. We go on a first date. Aren't we past that? Our previous relationship was supervised by an evil emotional parasite. Fair point. Next time, no missions, no targets, no hidden fragments. No hotel bathtubs. I'm flexible on that one. She pushed me away. I laughed. From the bathroom, Daniel began shouting that the water was too cold. My mother told him to stop complaining. Willow leaned her head against my shoulder. Our worlds were damaged. The network was broken, but not entirely gone. We had no idea how to build a stable gateway. For once, none of that felt like a deadline. We were alive. We were free. Tomorrow could wait until morning. Chapter 17. For 3 months, Willow Liu lived in my mother's spare bedroom. East Bell City's most powerful CEO had gone from commanding thousands of employees to arguing with a washing machine at 6 in the morning. The machine is refusing my instructions, she said. I stood in the laundry room wearing pajamas and one slipper. It isn't refusing. You selected the wrong setting. I selected intensive cleaning. For one silk shirt. The shirt is dirty. The machine is now preparing to destroy it. Willow folded her arms. Then stop it. You're the one who started it. And you're the one claiming expertise. I washed my own clothes for 12 years. That explains why you dress like this. I looked down at my faded t-shirt. It had been free. Free clothing was automatically fashionable. Behind us, the washing machine began shaking violently. Willow stepped away from it. Is it supposed to do that? No. You said you were an expert. I said I had experience. Experience often means surviving the same mistake repeatedly. The machine jumped forward. I reached behind it and pulled the plug. The laundry room fell silent. Willow opened the lid. Her white silk shirt had turned pink. She slowly lifted it out. A red sock clung to one sleeve. We both stared at it. That isn't mine, I said. It was in your laundry basket. That does not establish ownership. It has your name written inside. My mother does that so my brother and I don't mix up our clothes. You're 32. She's very organized. Willow placed the ruined shirt in my hands. You owe me $800. For a shirt. It was custom made. It has less fabric than my pillowcase. Then perhaps you should begin wearing your pillowcase to work. She walked out. I followed her. That sounds uncomfortable. You deserve discomfort. We entered the kitchen. My mother sat at the table drinking coffee. Daniel was lying beside her feet, wearing a blue collar and an expression of profound humiliation. She had attached a silver tag to the collar. It read, Furball. Daniel hated the name so much that he had stopped correcting her. "You two woke me up," my mother said. "Willow attacked the washing machine," I replied. "The machine attacked first," Willow said. My mother looked at the pink shirt in my hands. "Your father once turned all my clothes green." "How?" "He washed them with a blanket he bought from a street market." "What did you do?" "I married him." Willow glanced at me. "That seems excessive." My mother smiled into her coffee. The Gateway project occupied our garage. Willow had purchased equipment through 3 research companies and one supplier that asked no questions as long as we paid in advance. Half the neighborhood believed we were building an illegal radio station. The other half believed Willow was an international spy. They were closer. Adrian remained in East Bell City, sending us technical data through temporary openings in the network. The gateways lasted only a few seconds, just long enough to transmit small files. Liu Global had survived Willow's absence, but her board had declared her missing and appointed Abigail Shaw as temporary chief executive. Abigail had awakened after the system fragment left her body. She claimed to remember nothing. Willow did not believe her. Willow did not believe anyone. I had begun to suspect she did not even believe weather forecasts. Daniel entered the garage behind us. His tablet floated beside his head. "I have completed the stabilization calculations." Willow examined the data. "How confident are you?" 87%. I looked at him. "What happens in the other 13%? "The gateway collapses. With us inside it." "Yes." "Where would we go?" Daniel considered the question. "Everywhere." I waited. He did not elaborate. I disliked that answer. Willow continued reading. "We test it tonight. Shouldn't we improve the percentage first? Every day we wait gives Abigail more time to dismantle my company. You have enough money to start another company." "It's the principle." "The principle is worth risking being scattered across several realities." "Yes." Daniel looked at me. "She really is perfect for you." I don't know whether that was an insult. "It can be 2 things." Willow set down the tablet. "Our power source remains unstable." The blue core fragment had fused with my body when Willow used it to stabilize me. I was alive because of it, but the fragment could no longer power the gateway by itself. We needed another energy source. Not electricity. Not system energy. Something freely given and emotionally strong enough to open a path between worlds. Daniel had called it a voluntary bond. I called it extremely suspicious. "What exactly do we have to do?" I asked. Daniel cleared his throat. "You and Willow must create an emotional connection without system interference." "We already did that. Under crisis conditions. We saved 2 worlds." The network classified those emotions as survival attachment. Willow looked impatient. "What does it classify as voluntary?" Daniel's ears lifted. "A date." I stared at him. "You're telling me that after 3 months of research, the gateway requires dinner." "Dinner is optional. This technology was created by an emotional parasite. It has limited imagination." Willow turned toward the house. "Fine, we'll go tonight." "Go where?" "To dinner." "You can't schedule romance like a board meeting." She checked her watch. 7:30. "You just did." She looked back at me. "Don't be late." Then she left the garage. Daniel wagged his tail. "Congratulations, you have a date." I think I received a summons. With Willow, the distinction is mostly theoretical. Chapter 18, at 7:29, Willow walked into the living room wearing a blue dress. Not dark blue. Not black disguised as blue. Actual blue. She had worn the same color on the night our unwilling partnership began to change. I stood up. For several seconds, I forgot how words worked. Willow raised an eyebrow. Well, you look acceptable. Acceptable. I'm protecting your ego. My ego owns 3 companies. 2.5. Abigail currently controls one. Her eyes narrowed. I smiled. You look beautiful. Her expression softened. Better. My mother took approximately 40 photographs of us before allowing us to leave. Daniel tried to follow. I blocked the door. No. I need to monitor the energy readings. You can monitor them from the garage. What if the date fails? Willow looked at him. Then we'll put you in the washing machine. Daniel retreated. We chose a small restaurant near the river. There were no private rooms, security guards, secret systems, or executives trying to kill us. For the first time, we sat across from each other without a timer counting down. I picked up the menu. What do you want? Whatever you recommend. That is a dangerous amount of trust. I watched you strike a corrupted host with a sign. It was the nearest object. You used the wooden end. I was under pressure. The waiter came. Willow ordered before I could speak. Apparently, whatever you recommend meant I have already decided. When the waiter left, silence settled between us. It was not uncomfortable. That made it more uncomfortable. Willow looked toward the river. What did you do before you died? Mostly spreadsheets. I know. Then why ask? I know how you died. I don't know how you lived. The question caught me off guard. I thought about it. I woke up tired. I went to work. I stayed late. I promised my family I'd visit when things became less busy. Did they? No. What did you do for yourself? I bought an expensive coffee every Friday. That's all. Sometimes I bought a pastry. That is a very sad life. I didn't notice at the time. She lowered her gaze. I understand. You owned a global company. I worked from 5 in the morning until midnight. I ate during meetings. I slept with my phone beside my head. That is also a sad life. I noticed. Why didn't you change? Because stopping felt like losing. That answer sounded familiar. In my old life, rest had felt like failure. Saying no had felt selfish. Every task I completed only proved I could survive another one. I think the system chose both of us for the same reason, I said. We were good at treating ourselves like resources. Willow looked at me. And now my mother forces us to eat breakfast. She watches until I finish. She considers that love. It is terrifying. It can be 2 things. The food arrived. For the next hour we talked. Not about gateways. Not about extraction. Not about Liu Global. Willow told me she had wanted to become an architect before her father forced her into business. I told her I once tried to learn guitar, but gave up after my neighbor complained that I only knew half of one song. She admitted she secretly enjoyed poorly written detective novels. I admitted the diamond necklace from the hotel would not have suited her. You wore it for less than a minute, she said. It suited me beautifully. You were in a bathtub. I was making a strong fashion statement. What statement? Help. She laughed. It was not the controlled smile she used in business meetings. It was bright and unguarded. I had seen her face danger without fear, but that laugh was the first moment she seemed completely free. The core fragment inside my chest grew warm. A blue light appeared between our hands. Willow looked down. Is that the bond? Either that or I'm about to explode. She reached across the table. Her fingers touched mine. The restaurant disappeared. For a second, I saw 2 worlds connected by a thin line of blue light. Our hands anchored it. No mission appeared. No voice ordered us to continue. The choice belonged to us. Willow squeezed my fingers. We did it. I knew dinner would save reality. Don't ruin the moment. Would this be a bad time to mention that your company is paying? She tried to pull her hand away. I held on. Too late, the bond is established. You're abusing the technology. I learned from the system. Her thumb brushed over my fingers. When we return, things may be different. Your company, my life. Do you still want it? She considered the question seriously. I want parts of it. Which parts? The work, the people who relied on me, the ability to make decisions that matter. And the rest? The sleepless nights, the constant suspicion, and the belief that everything collapses when I step away. She looked at our joined hands. I don't want those anymore. Good. What about you? I want time with my family, work that does not kill me, occasional expensive coffee. And me. I pretended to think. Her foot struck my ankle beneath the table. I winced. You were already on the list. How high? Above coffee. Barely. Significantly. She gave me a warning look. I lifted her hand and kissed her knuckles. You're first. The blue light brightened. Somewhere across the city, the gateway activated. Our first date had succeeded. Unfortunately, Daniel called 1 second later. The garage is disappearing, he shouted. Willow closed her eyes. I answered calmly. That does happen when romance involves unstable supernatural technology. Chapter 19. The gateway filled my mother's garage. It was larger and more stable than the previous openings. Through it, we could see the underground chamber beneath Liu Global. Adrian stood on the other side. He looked at the damaged garage. Then he looked at us. Did the date go well? The garage is disappearing, Daniel shouted. Adrian nodded. So yes. My mother packed enough food for a month. We are crossing into another world, not moving to college, I told her. You don't know what they eat there. They have normal food. Willow carried 2 bags to the gateway. All of this is coming. I looked at her. You agree with my mother. She made dumplings. Betrayal came in many forms. Daniel stood near the gateway. He wore his blue collar, but had removed the furball tag. My mother noticed. She placed it back on him. For identification. I can speak. So can George, he still gets lost. I did not appreciate being included. We stepped into the gateway. The crossing lasted only a few seconds. When we emerged, Adrian immediately closed the connection to prevent another network surge. The underground chamber looked unchanged. East Bell City had not. Abigail had taken full control of Liu Global. Willow's picture had been removed from the lobby. Security access linked to her identity had been canceled. When we reached the executive floor, a guard attempted to remove us. Willow looked at him. He apologized before she spoke. Some authority survived any corporate restructuring. Abigail sat inside Willow's office. She had replaced the red cabinet with a decorative fountain. Willow stared at it. Of all the system's crimes, this seemed to offend her the most. Abigail rose. You're alive. You sound disappointed, Willow said. You disappeared for 3 months. I had personal matters. The board declared you unfit to continue. Willow placed a folder on the desk. The directors who voted against me were under criminal investigation at the time. Their votes are invalid. Abigail did not touch the folder. You can't walk back in and pretend nothing changed. I agree. Willow looked around the office. Remove the fountain. Abigail's expression tightened. Blue light flickered behind her eyes. I saw it. So did Daniel. A system fragment still lived inside her. Willow, I warned. Abigail slammed her hand against the desk. The office windows turned black. A system message filled the walls. Network restoration protocol. New central host required. Blue wires emerged from the fountain. I knew it was evil. Decorative office fountains could not be trusted. The wire seized Abigail. She screamed. Daniel transformed into human form and grabbed one. The system pulled him toward her. "Destroy the fragment," he shouted. "How?" "It needs a voluntary host. Refuse the connection." "That seems easy." "It will use something you want." The office changed. My mother appeared near the windows. Willow's father stood beside the desk. Maya appeared in front of Daniel. Each illusion offered a hand. The network had lost its central host, but the broken fragments were trying to rebuild it. Willow faced her father. He looked exactly as she remembered. "You abandoned everything I built," he said. "No. You left your company vulnerable." "Yes. You were weak." Willow walked toward him. I held my breath. She stopped inches away. I was alive. The illusion flickered. "I made mistakes," she continued. "I trusted no one. I treated exhaustion like strength. I nearly became you." Her father held out his hand. "You can repair everything." "I don't want everything." She turned away. The illusion shattered. Across the office, Maya looked at Daniel. "You can become human again," she said. Daniel trembled. I moved toward him, but he raised one hand. "No." His voice was quiet. The illusion smiled. "We can start over." "No," Daniel repeated. "You already survived me. I will not drag you back into my regret." Maya's image cracked. Daniel removed his blue collar. "However, I would like to apologize." The illusion broke apart. The fragment inside Abigail screamed. Blue light poured from her eyes. I approached her. The system used my mother's face again. It did not work this time. "George," the illusion said, "you can return to the morning before your death." That stopped me. A clock appeared. 2 in the morning. My old office. My phone sat beside the keyboard. I could call for help. Go home. Avoid dying. Live the year my family had lost. "You can undo everything," the system whispered. I looked at Willow. If I changed that night, I would never arrive in her hotel room. Daniel would remain trapped. Adrian would remain corrupted. The first host would remain inside the network. Willow would still be alone, preparing to sacrifice herself to a threat no one believed existed. I don't want to undo everything. You died. And then I learned to live. I took Willow's hand. The illusion collapsed. The blue wires withdrew from Abigail. Daniel used his tablet to isolate the fragment. Willow placed the remaining core energy against it. Instead of destroying the fragment, she opened it. Thousands of stolen memories flooded the office. Voices filled the air. Former hosts. Former targets. People waking from years of emotional emptiness. The fragment dissolved peacefully. Abigail collapsed into Willow's chair. When she opened her eyes, the blue light was gone. She looked around in confusion. "What happened?" Willow pointed toward the door. "You're fired." Abigail blinked. "For what?" "The fountain." Honestly, that seemed fair. Chapter 20. Daniel located Maya 6 weeks later. She lived in a quiet coastal town and worked as a school librarian. She had married, raised 2 children, divorced amicably, and built a life that did not revolve around the frightened young man who had once demanded proof that she loved him. Daniel stood outside the library in dog form. He refused to go inside. "I only want to see that she's all right." "You crossed 2 worlds for this," I said. "I didn't ask you to come." "You hid in our car." "I needed transportation." Willow waited near the entrance. "Go speak to her." Daniel looked up at us. "What would I say?" "The truth," Willow replied. "That is unusually optimistic advice from you." "I am trying something new." The library door opened. An older woman stepped outside carrying a stack of books. She stopped. Daniel's tail lowered. "Maya," he whispered. She could not hear him in his dog form. She walked past us, then paused. Her gaze settled on Daniel. For a long moment, neither moved. Maya crouched. You look familiar. Daniel's human form flickered. Just for a second. Maya dropped the books. Daniel. He became human. The metal bands were gone. He looked young but no longer frightened. I'm sorry, he said. Maya stared at him with tears in her eyes. You disappeared. I know. I thought you died. I did, sort of. That is a terrible explanation. I've spent time with George. I took offense. Maya laughed through her tears. Then she hugged him. Daniel did not ask her to prove anything. He did not ask her to forgive him. He simply apologized and listened. Later, he returned to us in dog form. You could stay, I said. He shook his head. She has a life. You can be part of it. Perhaps someday. Willow crouched and fastened the blue collar around his neck. The furball tag was still attached. Daniel looked down at it. I defeated a central supernatural network. And you still need identification, Willow said. He sighed. Targets are unbearable. Former target, she corrected. Worse. For the first time, Daniel's future belonged entirely to him. He chose to divide his time between Maya's town and our homes in both worlds. He remained a dog most days because maintaining human form required energy. He claimed this was a serious, supernatural limitation. I suspected he liked being given snacks. Chapter 21. 1 year after the night I woke in Willow's bathtub, we opened the first permanent gateway. It stood beneath Liu Global, protected by the mineral that blocked system control. A second gateway operated from a research center near my hometown. Travel between worlds was limited, monitored, and extremely expensive. Willow charged corporations twice the normal rate. She called it responsible regulation. I called it recovering the cost of her shirt. Together, we founded the Crossworld Recovery Foundation. Adrian led the team that located former hosts. Daniel helped restore stolen identities. Willow funded treatment for targets whose memories had been damaged. I managed operations. I still worked with spreadsheets. The difference was that I stopped at 5. My old manager contacted me after learning I was alive. His message read, "Glad you're well. Any chance you still have the final version of that report?" I blocked him. It was one of the happiest moments of my second life. Willow divided her time between Liu Global and my world. She promoted executives she trusted, took weekends off, and occasionally allowed other people to solve problems. She still attended every board meeting. Some habits were harder to kill than supernatural parasites. On the anniversary of our first date, I took her back to the River restaurant. She arrived 9 minutes late. You're late, I said. I'm the CEO. That excuse does not work in this world. It should. She sat across from me. There were no glowing meters above her head. No system evaluating her affection. No mission promising me a reward. I took a small velvet box from my pocket. Willow stared at it. If that is the necklace from the hotel, I'm leaving. It's still evidence. You kept it. You accused me of stealing it. I became emotionally attached. I opened the box. Inside was a simple silver ring set with a tiny blue stone. The stone held no system energy. It was only a stone. Willow looked at me. George, I had a speech. What happened to it? I forgot it when you started looking dangerous. I always look dangerous. That is part of the problem. I took the ring from the box. My first life ended because I kept waiting for the right time to live. Then I met you under legally questionable circumstances. You were wearing my necklace. Allegedly. I found it around your neck. Circumstantial evidence. George. Right speech. I took her hand. I don't want a mission with you. I don't want a target, a score, or a reward. I want ordinary mornings, ruined laundry, arguments about office furniture, and dinners where reality does not collapse. That is a low standard for marriage. I was building toward the romantic section. You were taking too long. She took the ring from my hand and placed it on her finger. I stared at her. I didn't ask yet. You were going to. What if I changed my mind? She gave me the same cold look she had worn in the hotel bathroom. You won't. I smiled. Willow Liu, will you marry me? Yes. That sounded like an order. It was. I leaned across the table and kissed her. A phone camera flashed. My mother sat 3 tables away with Daniel. She waved. My brother sat beside her. Adrian was near the bar. Maya stood with him. I pulled away from Willow. You invited them. No. We both looked at my mother. She lifted her phone. I knew you would forget pictures. Daniel wore a tiny black bow tie. The same bow tie he had worn when I first saw him. Visual error, he said when he noticed me staring. I laughed. Willow rested her head against my shoulder. Outside, the moon reflected on the river. One world stretched beyond the city. Another waited through the gateway. For most of my life, I believed happiness was something earned after every task was complete. After the next report. After the next deadline. After everyone else was satisfied. I had been wrong. There would always be another problem. Another meeting. Another dangerous fountain. Life did not begin when the work ended. Life happened while the work remained unfinished. Daniel jumped onto the empty chair beside us. I assume I will be part of the wedding. You can carry the rings, Willow said. In human form. No. His ears lowered. Why? You're cuter as a dog. I helped save 2 worlds. And now you're going to wear a small suit. Daniel looked at me. Host help. I held up both hands. No contracts, remember. You are a terrible person. Willow smiled. He's improving. Daniel climbed down and marched toward my mother, who immediately offered him a piece of cake. His anger disappeared. Willow examined her ring. You chose blue. You once said you might like something tomorrow that you hated yesterday. I don't remember saying that. Different life. Different story. I intertwined my fingers with hers. Better ending. She looked at me. No. No. Better beginning. The city lights shimmered across the water. There was no timer. No command. No invisible force deciding what came next. Just 2 difficult people who had survived being used, chosen to trust each other, and finally learned that love was not a test anyone had to pass. Willow's hand remained in mine. This time, neither of us needed a reason to hold on. The end. Epilogue, System 439's final report. Former designation, System 439. Current name, Daniel. Current form, unfairly adorable duck. Host status, annoying but alive. Target status, more annoying but also alive. Central network status, destroyed. Gateway status, stable. Mission status, terminated. Additional observation. George and Willow married 6 months later. The ceremony was peaceful until George misplaced the rings. I was blamed despite having no involvement. The rings were eventually discovered inside George's pocket. No apology was issued. I was required to wear a small black suit. Maya said I looked handsome. Therefore, I have decided not to pursue legal action. George now leaves work on time. Willow occasionally takes vacations. Neither follows instructions particularly well. This is considered progress. They continue to argue almost every morning. They also continue to choose each other. No system required. No reward promised. Mission complete. Actually, forget that last part. There was never a mission. They were simply living. And for once, that was enough.